It's live. So my name is Charlie. Um, I'm a student and security researcher, and I won't do much of the introduction bit. I'm just going to dive direct into what brought us in here today. It is the Log4j exploit, and we have to see about it in both the developers and attackers perspective. So I'll start by firing up my IDE. I usually use um, ID IntelliJ. So we'll develop a vulnerable application, and then we will exploit it and see how we can patch the same. So give it some time. It's a Java application and consumes quite some memory, so it will take some time to launch. IntelliJ, and there we have it. So at the same time, I'm just going to create a GitHub repo where we'll push all that stuff. So GitHub, right? And we first of all create the repo. So we can call the repo. Let's just call it maybe Log4j exploit demo. That's it. Description. We don't really need a description, and it's public. Can probably add a README file. Git ignore. Have Java, and license. Well, we can make it open source, so MIT. Then create repository. Right, and then I'm going to use the switch to clone it. So over here, using IntelliJ, we create a new project, and we call it the same name as the repo. So I'm just going to use Gradle, and the name is the same name that we used on the repository. So I'm just going to delete all these, and we have that. That's the name, and then the package name can be something like com.charlie dot that. Right, you don't have to panic if you don't have good or any background in programming. Don't. It's not really necessary to know about this. So as it's loading up, we can be fetching the libraries that we'll be using. So for one, I'm going to use Spark, and Spark is a framework, just like Angular or whatever you have, Node.js, all those. It's a framework like those, and it helps in making web applications. So as the project loads up, you can see that we already have some default dependencies over here. We'll still use them, and this is where we're going to add the vulnerable log4j uh, dependency and then use it from there. So let me just open up the web and look for the libraries that I'll be using, but I have them all fed, so that's not really a necessary step. Let's wait for this to load up, and we can begin doing our magic. So give it some time. It's downloading, probably downloading some stuff and doing all the configuration. right? I like multitasking, so as it does that, I'm going to fire up a terminal and be linking this project to what we just created on GitHub. So terminal and then use fish, and then the projects are in ID of projects. So it's log4j something, just list, and hasn't been created yet. So some more time, some more time. Right, it's almost done. It's doing some final magic, and there we go. So the first library that we'll be using will be let's first of all begin with Spark. So Spark, the depreciation, if you go to the Spark's website, they say you use compile, but that's depreciated. So we'll be using implementation. So implementation, not dictation. And then the library name is org.spark.java. And then where are we getting it from? We're getting it from Spark of core, and the version, the latest version is 293, so 2.9.3. If it has an update, it will tell us and we'll update to whatever it tells us to. We also need another library implementation, which is now the vulnerable log4j. The vulnerable log4j dependency. So to import it, we use org.apache. Having some hard time trying to administer people and do this at the same time. So org.apache.logging, then .log4j, log4j. And then the exact stuff that you want. So it's going to be log4j core. We can, log4j, 4j, and then core, and the version. So the vulnerable version that we are going to use will be 2.140. So 2.140. And then I think that's more than enough. We can use that one for now. So let's sync the project so that they can download these dependencies. Right, so as it downloads, we can be linking these to GitHub. Now if I switch back and list, it appears I created it in some other folder, not that one. I'm not sure where. Oh, it's in GitHub. So it's saying it couldn't find Spark. That's weird. Let me see where I did something wrong. So Spark Java. Oh, it's com, not org. Some stupid mistakes. And we can see that the vulnerable Apache version, okay, when it has this yellow highlighting from this specific IDE, it means that this version can be updated. So if you have this vulnerable library, to update it, you just, let me show you with this one, because we won't be really using it. To update it, you just press Alt and then enter. Then it will tell you to upgrade to the latest version. You just do that. Same thing for the other one. Update it, and that's it. For this one, because we're going to use the vulnerable version, we're not going to update it for now. So and after importing all those things, we just create the main class which will have the vulnerable code. So I'm just going to call it app, and from there we can begin by importing some stuff. Okay, let me just create the main class. So psvm, and we can create a get request, get, and then what do we want? We want anything. So if you throw anything to this application, it should give you back something. Before I start using this get, I need to import Spark, so it stops giving me this red squiggly line, which means there is something wrong. So to import Spark, I just import, then static, dang it, stat, static, oh, static, yeah, static, and then Spark, and I want to import everything from Spark so it doesn't give me headaches. And there we go. Now you can see it's no longer highlighted. So now after that, we can create a basic get request. So if you get anything, let me just close this here. Should have a request and a response. Don't worry about all this junk that doesn't even make sense. It's not really necessary once again. And return something like a string. Right, so after there, our code should work. Let's give something back like hello, or maybe sanity check. Sanity check. So now if we run our application and let's specify some port. I want this application to run on port maybe 3000. So when I run these, I haven't added anything yet for to log anything. So it should only use the I should use another login library called SL4j. You can see it can't run because it needs this. Java needs to log stuff so that it can run. That's the beauty. I don't know. It's a necessity. So we need to have this library. We can either use this one or log4j. So for me, I use for SLF4j. And it's what I'm going to use. So implementation, and then org.sl4j, then sl4j simple. Right, sl4j, and then simple, and then the version. So the version that I'll be using is 1732. I believe that's the latest one. So 1732. Yeah, something of that sort. Now I can sync in peace. I believe everything is fine. Let's see if it will sync. And that's good. Now if we run the application, it should start up the server. Nice one. So that means the server has already been started. And if we read the logs well, it's open on port 3000. So if I go to my browser and then open localhost 3000, I should get a hello. So localhost 3000, I should be given back. Oh yeah, sanity check. Awesome. So it's working just fine. Now let's add that SL, not SL, the Log4j vulnerability. So first of all, we need to import. That will be done automatically as we type. We're just going to create an instance of that logger. Don't worry about those terms, about all those Java terms. We can have a session on Java or something of that sort, but don't be intimidated by them. So I'm going to create as an instance of the logger. I'm going to just call it static final. That means it shouldn't be it is static, so it's not going to change. Sorry for that. So after that, I'm going to call now the logger. So logger, and give it a simple name, maybe just logger. So after creating the instance, sorry for that, I hate disruption. Just going to click on ALT and enter, and it's going to give me a list of everything that I can use. So I'm not going to use the first one, that's the inbuilt logger. I'm not going to use this other one. I'm going to use this one, Log4j. So after that, I don't really need to be creating the instances on okay, like manually. I need it to be done automatically. So I add another thing called log manager. So log manager, this one, and you can see it's also from log4j. So log manager, and then get the logger. Now inside the class that I want the logger to be in. So the class is app dot class, and then after that, now I can get class name. Get class. Get class name. Get name. There we get class. And now after that, I can start using it. So if you got confused about all these, you don't have to worry. It's normal. I'm also confused by the same. So we want two fields. We want to create, okay, we want to make two fields intentionally vulnerable. So the simplest one that we can mess with is user agents. So that when somebody requests with the malicious user agent, well, if you don't know what a user agent is, you don't have to worry either. We'll see that in practice. So we're going to create a string and call it user agent. And we're going to assign it to request, and then from the request we get the user agent. So that might make sense even if you don't know about it. Well, it will make sense when you see what the user agent is. Then after getting the user agent, maybe you can print it out to the console. So or not print the console, okay, we need to see it, so we kind of print in Python. So string dot out, not string, it's system dot out dot println, and then we can have maybe like a string to tell us what we're doing. So we're logging the user agent, and maybe a semicolon, and now the actual user agent that we're going to be logging. So user agent, and then after that, now we call the logger. So to call the logger, since you just created an instance of, or this will automatically create, all of this will automatically create an instance of it. You're just going to call this variable the logger, and logger. Now this is like triggering the error, and error inside it to give it user agent. All right, that's that. And then here, to make it look and feel more, how do you call it? To look and feel like more of an actual, a real life application, we're going to give back something like maybe when you click on a website, oh, not when you click, when you visit our website, you get a 200 okay as a response code, and then some funny stuff. So we're just going to recreate the same. So 200, and then maybe okay. It's 2200 okay. 200 okay. Well, yeah, 200 okay, and then after that we have something else like user agent. So user and then agent. I'm not sure if it's usually like that, but it's something of that sort. So, and then the actual user agent. Oh, have a plus. Nice one. Now we have our application ready to go, and it's vulnerable as hell. So I'm just going to reload these, and I think we can push this to GitHub for now. Let's just look at how, okay, what it does on the side, on the browser. So it's just going to get something empty. Here's how we get something empty, and we can see 200 okay. It's giving me an agent of Mozilla, all that stuff, blah 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 blah. Right. So now that feels like what an actual application should do. So now from this we go to exploitation. Before we move to exploitation, let me just first of all upload this link to GitHub, because I'll be using a different PC. I'm going to be using this, the one that okay, I'm going to use this as the attacker machine, and another PC as the vulnerable machine. So CD, so this is in GitHub. Yes. Oh yeah, this is our demo. So I'm just changing directory into log. And then or going to Git remote set URL origin and that. Oh, before I do that, I have to initialize it as a GitHub repository. So going to do that using the IDE. Right, and it's done. I can add what? Git remote set URL. No such remote origin. Oh. Damn it. Set URL. Okay, I think it should be like that. Add and then origin. Oh, git remote. And then v. It's not setting it for some reason. I'm just going to use these to set it. How's that option? Oh, yeah. So add, and there we go. Oh, it's already added, so let me just confirm. It's added. Git pull. Wait for it to do the magic. Damn it. Git pull origin main. Alright, it has done that, and then now I can git status and git add. Wait, I can git. I can git pull origin main, then rename it to git branch main. I git add everything, git commit v1, then I can push to GitHub. All right, so now it's time to switch. I think it's already on GitHub. It's time to switch from being the good one, good guy, to being the bad guy. Okay, so it's already on GitHub. I'm going to clone it on this other machine, this other device, and run it. So let me just do that. Let me set up everything. Okay. So I think we're done with this one. We can even close it. It's no longer useful to us. We can even exit from here and now open up a new terminal as purely the malicious person. Right now, this is the attacker. How do they attack the application? Okay, so it's very simple actually. I'm going to switch to fish. One of the completing stuff they usually use. Oh yeah. So I don't know if I really have to share this other screen. Let me just share for a second and then switch back to the other PC. So what is that? I'm going to stop sharing with this screen and start sharing with this other one. So share my entire screen, yes. Yes. Do I really have to share the entire screen? No. I can just share this. Share. So I believe you all can see you can see the running up the running application that is vulnerable. So this is the code that we just made now. Just change the font to 9,000. This for preferences. You can even change it to maybe 444 or anything I want. So I think, okay, let me change it to 9090 and rerun the project. So as that app is running, I'm just going to pick the IP address of this machine that it's running on. I'm just going to pick the IP address, and let me just stop sharing that screen. And we should now get back to the attacker machine. Okay. Oh, yeah, I think we need to see both screens. So I'm sharing both of them. Yeah, that um, I will be sharing this screen, this other one. I really think I should have done them on the same machine. But it's going to bring some ports conflicts or something. I wanted to show it on how you can exploit a remote system. That's why I wanted to use two machines, but it appears like to illustrate it, I have to use one machine, but we'll even use ngrok for the same to illustrate how you can do it on a remote machine. So let me just use this machine that we were using before. I'm just going to share everything and okay, and spin up the application, which means I have to open up ID again. Okay, open it. Now it opens up. Let's have a basic a ping back. So I'm just going to split the screen into two. And up here using fish. Then just going to open netcat and listen on port 444. And down here, what do I need down here? Down here, I'm just going to use fish 2. Fish and have nothing for now. Right, so after that, now we have to launch the vulnerable application. And let's wait for it to load. It won't take long as it did the first time we launched it. So it's updating some index stuff and all that. Oh, I think it's done. So now we can have the application spinned up and running. So I'm just going to run. And it's running on for 3000. I don't really have to change that. I'm going to use that as is. Okay, so let's wait for it to finish opening up everything. And there we go. Application is live. So to start with, we can just ping it to see what will get back. So I'm just going to use Chrome, and well, it's the same thing. It's going to give back the same thing. You can change the port to show that it's working even on other ports. So from 30,000 to 1990. All right. So now let me just type this and refresh it. Now, if we change the port from 3000 to 1990, we should get the same thing. Awesome. Now let's go to the exploitation bit. So we've seen that the vulnerable, the thing that is being logged, whatever that is being logged over here is the user agent. So if we mess with the user agent parameter, instead of like it sending the user agent as Mozilla and all this blah blah blah, it sends that payload that will compromise the application. So we're going to use curl and going to, before we use curl, let's first of all get our IP address. So, okay, we're doing this locally, so there is no need for that actually. And to do this, we have curl. Oh, actually, I'd run this before. So the only bits that we're going to change is these. We don't really need that one. And let me just make this bigger. And I don't really have to make it bigger. So we change this to A, and we're in the same machine. So we want to hit back this listener. So it's on localhost and on port 444. Just going to write that down here. We want this to reach back to localhost, host, and on port 444. Now I'm going to minimize these so we can see what the application actually does when it receives this oh yeah, we can see the previous request that we did on the web. It was logging them, so it was logging user agent, blah blah blah, and logging the same. Let me just clear refresh it so that the output is not clogged up, so that we can see stuff as it happens in real time. Okay, so if now we send this request, we expect it to log this user agent. So we've tampered this parameter. It's not supposed to be the payload. It's supposed to be maybe Chrome, Mozilla, or something. Now, if we run this, we expect to get a connection up here on this terminal. So watch closely as we run it. So enter. Oh, what did I mess up? Cal for manual cal H. All right. We have test. Could not resolve host test. Oh, let me see. Oh, sorry for that. We're supposed to have this user agent move to localhost 9090. So local host and 9090. Because this is where we open the port. So you can see it's on 9090. This is where the request is supposed to go when you use cal, right? So when we press on enter, could not resolve. I think it's supposed to have some HTTP. So I'm just going to, oh yeah, this is the problem. I have a typo on the local host. It's supposed to be local host. So I think it should work like that. So let me do that, and we can see it has logged it over here, and at the same time, if we were keen enough, we got a connection back on this terminal up here. So that's just a